my zone. Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wishing you a healthy and happy start to your weekend of factory, but also massive opportunity as we have massive long-term changes that have been finally and formally confirmed as far as some of our more important exchanges like CMEs go. So we got a lot to talk about there as well. That has been the big thing that I've been waiting for quite some time. On top of that, I want to say that thank you for coming out to the Twitch streams the last few days. Really fun. I don't know if I'll do one today. Depends on how much time I have. I would hope to do one, but I do want to kind of fix a few other things that I'm working on my other computer. So we'll see if time permits. If not, perhaps tomorrow is going to be a better day as well for that. Also, the Krown Trading application is 100% live, although it's not 100% completed, but it's 100% free. So take advantage of it. It's at app.crowntrading.net. Kind of like a thank you to the community, essentially, just for supporting this channel, and we'll actually be focusing on it quite a bit today. It does tie in very well with the analysis, and so it's good to have all those things kind of in one just dedicated place. Anyways, with all of that said, I would like to wish you the best, also the happiest, and let's pour it on into the live scene, baby. There she is, pressing the button, and teleportation is initiated, and Bitcoin on CME chart, the most clear and concise and simplistic analysis that'll ever show you, ever, staring you right in the goddamn face. CMEs closed for the weekly yesterday, and guess what? CMEs have confirmed, I repeat, have confirmed a higher high on the weekly. And not only that, but also kind of confirming this inverted head and shoulders that's been printed in ever since our September slump right on over here on your left shoulder, double head in November, December, and then right shoulder coming in later in January. And this is going to have big implications going onwards and forwards here. Actually, I forgot to just talk about the Krown Trading app because we should focus on the open interest, which actually went down a little bit from yesterday, got a little bit down from yesterday, but still very high. So the big move is yet to come, and with each and every passing day that we don't get that big move and open interest stays this high, those two relationships between each other, that is going to equate to, as time goes on, a bigger and badder breakout or breakdown. But we'll get a little bit more deeper into that. Also, Bitcoin dominance down about 0.5% from what we saw yesterday. Anyways, back into the charts right here. Yes, this has been confirmed. So keep in mind that CME's closed at 98.45, which is akin to about, I believe, 97.50ish region on spot. So very likely spot's going to be able to do the same thing in print and fully confirm a higher high on the weekly for the first time since really our massive run from 4,000 all the way up to 14,000. So again, very simple style of analysis here, but when we're talking about long-term trends, that's really all it has to be. So multiple things going on here, of course, but the big one is that we've actually closed on higher highs. So I want to go into this analysis with that in the back of our mind's eye, because the weekend is just ripe for opportunity, or sorry, well, it is ripe for opportunity, but it also is ripe for fuckery as well. So I'm not really all that inclined to be calling moves over the weekend. We actually kind of already got a little bit of the move that I was looking for. I did say that if Bitcoin failed to close above 98.50, would come down and test around 9,600. We did get that test down, that wick down to about 96.50ish region. But do we get another test down, later today? Perhaps yes. I don't have a strong opinion on that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But this is the main focus here. So not only do we confirm higher highs on a weekly, which does confirm a weekly reversal, and of course the weekly trend has been, or weekly reversals in any direction, whether it be to the upside or the downside, have been all the major massive moves in Bitcoin's history. I'm talking about, if you're going back to the Genesis, sorry, let me get my Genesis chart over here. We're talking about, starting to get long right here on the confirmation of an uptrend all the way up to here. Downtrend confirms, then boom, down all the way, 70%, then boom, uptrend confirms right here. Massive move to the upside. Same thing to the downside right here as downtrend confirms itself on this tick there, and then uptrend confirms itself right here. Boom, massive move up from like $250 to 20,000. Same thing to the downside right here from 16 to all the way to 3,100, then about 4,000 all the way to 14,000, then more recently from 10,000 to 6,500. And now we actually have confirmed our first higher high. Now we actually technically do not have a higher low just yet on a weekly. You might look at this as a higher low right here, but more realistic is that we will come back down and set in a higher low at some point. Everyone's going to be holding their breaths, and that's going to be the scary part. But as of right now, that is the big thing for me. Bitcoin got the higher high. We didn't do shit. We just watched. And that also does confirm this as an inverted head and shoulders, which actually does, it's a lot more easily to be seen on CMEs right here. And the volume signature does work a little bit better. As you see the increase in volume on the on this breakout to the upside right here. You can also look at it as like kind of a cup and handle coming off this region, but usually you don't really see cup and handle as a reversal pattern. It typically comes as a continuation pattern. In this case right here, we do have an inverted head and shoulders, which is a reversal pattern. So those two things line up each other very, very well, as open interest is extremely high as we're right around the breakout point. Those are the key critical points from this video. And then now we'll kind of go down to lower time frames after. Actually, I want to flesh this idea out a little bit more. Measured move on this inverted head and shoulders actually does point up towards about 11.5 to 12,000 bucks right here. That is akin to our early August highs, which is spot at around $12,000. Not only that, but this area has a lot of really good confluences with what's going on in price action as well, because that is actually the last major gap that we had on CME. It's the only present one that is on the board. I know people are calling this one down here a gap, this one down here a gap. That is fucking wrong. If you're in the TA program, go to the gap analysis video, and that will go into much more detail there. And I would say that overall, as long as Bitcoin is closing daily dollars above 95.50, I'm not bearish. I have no reason to be bearish. We could have pullbacks, absolutely, but generally I'm going to be medium term, long term bullish here. Things look more or less fine. I'm sure Bear is going to be telling you that there's a rising wedge here. There is technically a rising wedge here, but that does not trump the greater formation, and I would put more weight on the greater formation as always. And essentially that point of failure is 95.50 to 9600. So as long as it's above there, completely fine. Can come back down and test it. That's completely fine as well. I would actually expect some similar to that over the weekend, although we did already kind of get that test down. Fair enough. Anyways, points of reference for the next sort of areas of resistance as far as like a daily goes would be right around here from about 10. I'm going to guess that this is about 10.2 to 10.5. This is on CMEs though. So CMEs have about $100 premium on price action for spot. So that'd probably be spot at around 10.3 to 10.1 region, which is pretty, clear with what we've been looking at on the charts for spot as well. Having those areas marked off for quite some time, and I'm going to mark off this area as well right here. And those are going to be the big ones going forwards. I would expect short-term pullbacks from these, or at least from this region right here, or maybe even a medium-term pullback from this region right here. That being the lower 10,000 region, and then this area right here is an area of massive fuckery. I would be very, very careful in that region, because this would be the area to have a massive bull trap in, assuming that Bitcoin gets there. Okay, we have a long ways to go first and foremost, and then you also got this area right here, of course, from our early September breakdown, the early September highs. That's gonna come into visual view as well, but not as important as the other ones that we just overlaid. And I'm gonna put in some nice blue boxes of peace and prosperity, and perhaps even death and destruction, depending upon which side you're kind of approaching it from. But these are the big ones right here. And then let's also do one for the downside as well. I really want to represent this 9500-ish, 9550 to 9600-ish region well, but again, with $100 premium on price action, that's going to be more like 97 to 96.50, something like this right here. So on CMEs, it would be something like this, something like that. Those are the big ones that are going onwards and forwards here. If we do break this guy to the downside, then Bitcoin's going to be in, I wouldn't necessarily say Bitcoin's in trouble at that point. Bitcoin's in trouble below 9,200 is the big bad area as far as the daily is concerned. But going over into spot price action right here, let's throw back on all the major movement averages. Actually, take everything off once again, and it actually does look like we already got that test to the downside that we spoke about yesterday. Remember, I did say, I believe at the end of yesterday's video and also during the Twitch stream, that if Bitcoin failed to close above 98.50 before yesterday's daily close, very, very likely it pulls back to the 9,600-ish level. We kind of got that, kind of didn't. It got down to about 96.50-ish region, and this is why weekend trading I'm just so inclined to not give it two fucks about. But this is about what we were looking for. So what do I run with here if I had to trade this, which I'm not trading this. I'm not interested in trading this. I want to be very directly clear with that. You don't have to fucking trade when the odds aren't in your favor, and I don't think they really are right now. Speaking of just the weekend fuckery, I think greatly diminishes any sort of technical edge. And looking at this right here, it does look like Bitcoin wants to retest 98.50. We'll have a chance to close above during the weekend. It likely will. I mean, it likely even does. I mean, we've seen a full reset of all of our lower term time frame oscillators. Hourly Stokes looking strong and looking nice and girthy, very erect. 2 hour Stokes having a fresh cross the upside. downside, rejecting the bearish control zone. 3 hour have been coming down this whole way, but price action maintaining a nice, just orderly channel here. No real damage has been done. Do we have any bearish divergence to be had? We had a little bit right here, but it's already played out, I do believe, with a move from about 98.50 to 96.50. That's a $200 move. Very reasonable to say that that's already played out. What about a 4 hour? 4 hour actually does have bearish divergence present as well. So that would be, that would be a little bit more on the side of what I'm saying. But if you do see a close above 98.50, and I say this with hesitation because it is a Saturday and tomorrow's Sunday, so we got 2 days of fuckery abound. If we get a close above 98.50 on at the very least a 4 hour, that would be my first potential signal for that next move up into like 10.1 to 10.3 region. Very, 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 very likely. But I'd really like to see that happen during the week's trading, like on Monday, Tuesday, something like that would make a lot more sense and make me feel a lot more comfortable. Moves like this happening over a weekend they're fucking diabolical is what they are. But as of right now, remember, with open interest so goddamn high, and I apologize to all the readers people out there, but I mean, and just the turn of phrase, we also see that ties in extremely well with this as a major precipitous breakout point, because not only are we completing an inverted head and shoulders on the chart that matters most, CMEs, but also looking at historical volatility percentile on every time frame for Bitcoin right now. This thing is goddamn crushed. Sorry, did it again. My bad. I apologize about that. Just understand that my language is never intended to offend. So, if you do take offense from it, it's not my intention. So it shouldn't be interpreted as such. Just my lazy way of expressing myself. But looking at the 4 hour right here, very, very low. This sort of signature at this low of volatility on this time frame does precipitate moves that do come to the tune of like a couple $100 or more, and can spurn off higher time frames, which we're going to look at in a second. But I do want to just confirm that all the lower time frames below this are still contracting. We do see it right here on the 3 hour. What about 2 hour? Contracting as well over the whole. Hourly is actually starting to expand, so fair enough. Now let's go over to the 12 hour. We've been watching this one as well quite some time, and this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to draw a trend line through here. It's more of a regression, doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to kind of get best fits. And guess what? Where is the big spike up to the red zone here coming in from? You fucking guessed it. That's a December low. That's literally where Bitcoin put in the current low for this cycle, down around 6,500-ish region. And guess what? We've been contracting ever since. That means that somewhere around this point where it's really, really likely to get too tight, and actually I could collapse this down a little bit more. This is not the best regression. It's like a terrible regression. Something like this would be a little bit more accurate. This means probably somewhere around this point later on in this month, we do get a face melting move, because anytime that 12-hour historical volatility percentile gets like all wound up and tightens up all the way down into like the single digits, those are your, last time we had a move like this was literally on, right before the low, so right before almost $1,000 move to the downside. Time before that was another like $2,000 move to the downside from 8,500 down to 65. Time before that was this move from 94 down to 85. Time before that was this move from 83 to 74. These are all downside moves. It's not always going to be downside moves. Time before that was another downside move from 10.3 all the way to 78. Let's get an upside one. Here's an upside one all the way from 95 to 12,000. So it's direction neutral, but it does tell us that a big move is incoming. And I do think that more or less Bitcoin is bullish here. So I'd really like to see this move transpire during the actual trading week. If this happens during the weekend, like let's say Bitcoin breaks 98.50 on the next 4 hour on the next 4 hour closure, I'd feel a little bit apprehensive about it. I'd feel more confident if it was a 12-hour, for example, which we actually do have closing in the next 4-hour schedule. So it will have a chance here. It's only $45 away from it on Mexico, and this wick being bought up right here is strength. It is good. It is more or less constructive for Bitcoin. But the big weekend fuckery just really has me kind of stunned in this region, and I don't want to be taking trades off this. Looking at 12-hour Stokes, we are still up, but going to be getting tired. Typically, it doesn't like to stay in this range for too long, and we don't have CMEs to kind of give me that signature that I'm really looking for. Daily Stokes going to be up, freshly crossing the upside as well again, but same sort of thing here, and we do see a counter trend line forming kind of in this region. So if it does turn down today, this would be a good area for a little bit of a sideways consolidation between about 98.50 and 95.50 to the downside right here. And that's really what that's kind of what I want to keep a bird's eye view on. And realistically, do these sorts of ranges break during the weekend? Usually not. Usually fake outs happen over the weekend. So leave it at that. I'd much rather be conservative rather than aggressive in a region like this. And I think probably it gives a legitimate try to the upside sometime this coming week. But over the weekend, it can definitely do it. It definitely has happened in the past. But fucking hell, man. I don't want to trade it. Looking at daily historic volatility percentile, we are quite low, but still contraction over the long period of time. So that does line up with the overall idea that Bitcoin is winding up for this big, massive move, which I am starting to postulate goes more and more to the upside. More importantly, this ascending triangle that we've been looking at on Bitcoin RSI right here, coming at this upper echelon, is there's a lot of things to be said about it. And I've got a lot of messages about this yesterday, so I want to kind of spend a little bit of time explaining this. So first and foremost, keep in mind the bigger picture. The bigger picture is what matters the most here. And you're being told so much by just this chart right here. It's just this chart. You see Bitcoin gets kicked out of the bullish control zone when? In fucking June. That was at the top, quite literally at the goddamn top of the $14,000 rally right here. And it's by no mistake that Bitcoin was allergic to and rejected from the bullish control zone ever since then for the next over half a year, 6 months plus, until more recently we break back up into this region. So that's your first change of behavior. It's telling us that Bitcoin's, done something that it hasn't done since the last major uptrend. Not only that, but you can see that the RSI starts to put in a bullish formation at this region. It's confirming a change of behavior by staying resilient within it. But also we have an ascending triangle, which is a bullish formation, consolidating at a high level at the precipice of the bullish control zone. Fucking perfect, usually from what I see. And while we are kind of hitting the top side of this resistance right here, which makes me again hesitant to say that we actually do break out from this region, I do think that the RSI probably comes back down for a healthy test somewhere around this region right here, the edge of the bullish control zone, which is, weirdly enough, going to match up with the bottom trend line of this perspective ascending triangle. And that would be the next real opportunity. I do for whatever reason think that this probably happens this weekend, and again, my opinion is irrelevant. Just be clear. But the second that we break back above these prior highs, I would look for a massive just face melting move up into this region. That's going to be very, very likely in line with the full contraction phase of all those lower time frame historical volatility percentiles, and also with open interest this high on the board as Bitcoin is essentially completing a bullish reversal formation on the fucking macro weekly. All those things need to be added up together, and I do believe that we have a good perfect storm of a lot of things going on here if we can get these next rounds of confirmations, which I just wish was not over the fucking weekend. So yeah. And of course, on Bitcoin spot price action, we got the next blue box territory coming in right around 10,150 to 10,300-ish region. I should say that the bears do have something pretty big in their court. They do have, and hey, what's up? What's up, Nelson Sack? Good to meet you, man. And thank you for subscribing. The Bears actually do have something big on their court, but I don't believe that it plays out. I'll say that first and foremost to kind of start off this conversation. It's like a bad way to do it. They actually do have a rising wedge, and everything works about this rising wedge. The volume signature, the shape, the size, the smell, the taste, it's all good. And typically these do break out to the downside. However, a lot of the times when you see a market cycle officially switch off to, for like a full reversal from bull to bear or bear to bull, you'll see a counter trend formation, a reversal formation get broken in the same direction of that reversal trend. So in this case, breaking back above the top side of resistance of this perspective rising wedge would be that extra confirmation, and that would be above about $10,000 now, funnily enough. So we could actually collapse this down a little bit, I suppose. You can maybe say 9,900-ish region. That's going to help align our analysis of the expected moves chart relatively soon, but I do want to throw that out there. And more importantly, even if this is a rising which ends up playing out to the downside, there is bearish divergence present, to be fair. If Bitcoin tops out here, it is present. However, I wouldn't consider it confirmed to the downside until we break below 95.50 on a higher time frame closing, like a 12-hour. If that were to happen, I'd look for a full move down to about 92 to 91.50ish down here, and I'll mark that area off right now. So that would be that would be the kind of the downside target if I were to look at this as bearish and breaking bearish if it gets confirmed. But right now, I want to be on the record saying that I don't think that happens. I think that Bitcoin is bullish here. I think that Bitcoin does push its way onwards and upwards, it's looking good. It's looking strong. That's only if, again, we get a higher time frame closing below 9550-ish region. Even 9600 probably does it as well. Anyways, checking out the other higher time frames, I'm curious how they're doing. 2-day looks very, very constructive. I really, really like this chart for at the least another push to the upside, probably around 9900, probably more, maybe 5 digits. 3-day is, are we closing tonight? We are closing tonight, and it looks overall good as well. 3-day RSI is about to get back into the bullish control zone and confirm in the bullish control zone for the first time since, holy fucking moly, June, July of 2019 during this whole run right here. So very, very nice. Anyways, let's go down into the lower time frames now, and we've kind of done a good analysis on them already. But let's look at the ranges and match up with the expected moves chart. So remember, 9850 to the upside, that's the big bad one. I really fucking hate that this is probably gonna happen on a weekend. And 9550, 9600 to the downside is your first sort of initiating factor that this is gonna be, some sort of a bull trap, which I don't think it happens. But let's go check out the expected moves chart right here. We can keep it on a 12-hour. Okay, so 12 hours is actually very bullish. It's telling us that the probability of us, not of us, but of Bitcoin ending above 9850 by end of day, because that'd be about 12 hours from now, would be about, okay, so we're in the first, I need to think about this one. We're in the first deviation to the upside. It would be quite literally right between there. So about somewhere around about 30%, which doesn't sound that high, but that's actually really high. That's actually quite high. But to put that in perspective, to break to the downside from this posturing in the next 12 hours, which would be, again, that critical point of about 9600, that would be below the second standard deviation. So that is literally, I feel like some sort of a woke Twitter person now, but literally that would be a less than a 2.5% chance. So keep that in mind. And so a 30% chance sounds much, much better than that, of course. And I would say that the probabilities still are in line with the bulls. Not only that, but so is trends, so is momentum oscillators, and so is formations as well, pattern traders. So bulls got a lot of things going for them. The only thing that's not going for the bulls, in my opinion, is just the fact that it's a weekend, and I expect fuckery to happen on the weekend. It's just much more likely. If we could do expected moves, if we could do expected fuckery chart, it would be like 99.99% on weekends compared to, price action doesn't really fuck around on the weekdays. Price action is price action. Anyways, we could also look at the daily, 1 day out for this as well, to kind of see where tomorrow's where the weekly will close, and it's given us a pretty favorable setting here as well. We do see the top side of the first standard deviation is $10,000, so working that next leg up is actually quite likely here. Again, about 30% chance that we actually do work our way into that region, but less than a 16% chance to get above 10,000 over the weekend. By the same token, we do see the second standard deviation coming in right around our next major resistance at about 10,250. It's kind of smack dab in the middle between 10.1 and 10.3 essentially, and that would be less than a 2.5% chance that we actually do take that out. So if Bitcoin does get around there, I would be looking for, at the very least, a pullback on the shorter term timeframes. Personally, I do think that we'd put in a medium term timeframe top, very, very likely. By the same token, to the downside, the first deviation coming in right around 90, a little bit below 9,600, so less than a 16% chance to break that area in the next day of trading as well. So probabilities are on the bull sides here. Very, very likely, and I do, and as I did say, Bitcoin is very likely to test 9850 again. I think we're kind of seeing that happen right now. The question is, does it actually close above it on a time frame that matters, that makes me comfortable on a weekend? Well, that's a whole nother story. Anyways, we go check out the other top altcoins to kind of get an idea of what the general market wants to do, because the general market typically moves together. And look at this, Litecoin is making new highs as we speak. Powerful Mrs. Litecoin, this beautiful bitch is leading this market up to the fucking green dildo heavens, baby, and I absolutely love it. And I would say that your next major region on Litecoin, as we've been saying for the past few days, is about $78 to $80 right here, and I do think that is going to make a move towards that region. It's likely going to come in line with Bitcoin taking the next leg up towards that lower $10,000 targeted region as well. What else do we have? Do you want to look at Mr. Buto really quick? Mr. Buto is 225. Nicely done, Mr. Buto. Oh, nicely done. So yeah. Oh man, this is so beautiful. It's so perfect. And I'm sorry. I feel like that came off as arrogant. But yesterday night during the Twitch stream, I did say that we are going to put in a local top here. We did, and we got the pullback from that region down almost exactly to the area. I said 210 pullback. We got 212. Close enough is close enough. And this one being bought back up immediately. It's very, very likely to break this area as well. I mean, just looking at the daily, this is strength right here. This is strength, and I do think that is going to officially take out this next blue box. It looks to me like it's already been done, realistically speaking. And next targeted region is going to be somewhere around like 230 to 235. I would say 230 to 235 right here. And I'll put in another blue box, or actually, I'm gonna just move this blue box up there and just migrate it. Lovely, absolutely lovely. And we can get rid of this one down here because it's not so relevant to the current price action. And just follow your dreams, follow your heart, Mr. Vitalik Buterol, and go to the goddamn blue box heavens, baby. Anyways, what else do we want to see? We can go check around the general market just because it's not going to be too much going on. Ripple me nipples having a phenomenal reaction, massive bull wick off the test down to the 10 simple. So all these pullbacks came from our region, but the reaction to them has been very telling, very, very telling. What about Monero? $79, similar as well, poking its head above and closing above some critical resistances. I do think that it's going to make a run towards 81 and a quarter. What about EOS? EOS, same thing. Wow, powerful EOS. Powerful EOS. Clearing above this resistance yesterday. I don't know why I took off this chart, but the next area that I'd be aware of is, wow. This one's quite interesting because I don't really see too much stopping it here. I suppose like the last little bit of resistance staring it in the face is literally where it's at right now, but I don't think that that's much. Fair enough. Really, really strong. Wow. EOS, one of the stronger ones. Neo, not bad. Same thing. Probably headed towards $13.50. Tron Cash, what are we seeing here? Above the last weekly spike high right here. So overall, long-term better. The market all moves together, and most things are looking constructive over a long period of time. Bcash not as strong as the other ones. So Bcash a little bit of a laggard here. Probably does make a move towards 489, but it's not making new weekly highs just yet, like the other ones are. Zcash, same thing, laggard, weaker. But next area, if the market wants to move up, would be about like 80, 87, $88. BNB, what do we see here? One of the stronger ones for sure. Next major region I'd be looking towards is about $23.50 right here. Wow, powerful girthy green dildos. Holy shit, man! This market is on the whole looking quite healthy. Hey, where'd my gold go? My gold! It's right there. Sorry, the reason why I kind of freaked out is because I didn't see a price on it. It says literally $0.0. So probably just a bad print by TradingView, but consolidating at a high level as well. I did say that we'd probably pop back up and test around 1580. We haven't got that test just yet. Could it top out here once again and then head down? Maybe yes. This one's starting to become a little bit more easy to read though, because of the way that it bounced off that last area. I would say that this trend line, as long as it holds, which is rising rapidly at 1555, is more or less a healthy consolidation, but breaking below it, and we're probably going to see a lot more downside. Let's go check out some of the forex pairs. Dollar yen not hitting my upside target. Coming down already. I'm not so confident on this one. I do think that it tries again higher though. See how the weekly close. Yeah, weekly close pretty damn well. Pound yen, nasty, bearish. Oh my god. Yeah, I've changed my mind so many goddamn times on this one, but coming back down to this lower side target, I would not trade that garbage. Euro dollar down to our lower target right here. Beautiful. Do you think that it overall is more to go longer term? This is an absolutely terrible, god awful chart, but does it bounce off this area first? Maybe back up to like 109.775? I think so. Yes. So I think it's probably going to bounce here, but continuation over the long term to the downside. Let's see. Do we want to check out some shitcoins as well? Let's look at Cardano. Cardano looking good. Most alts are going to be doing well versus Satoshis here. Do you think that it's kind of been a well, it actually probably does take out this resistance. It's going to spend some time going sideways here, I'd imagine, but it's very, very likely to take out this resistance. I'd have to get bullish on Cardano after that, all the way up to like 850, 900 Satoshis. It's going to start to look pretty good. Link, phenomenal. One of the best charts, and it's been one of the best charts for a very long time in cryptocurrency. Just long-term uptrend compared with all these things that just go straight down. This one I look for a retest of the prior highs and probably does take it out. Very, very constructive, very, very powerful. Good charts get rewarded, and this one will very, very likely be rewarded some of the best if Bitcoin does take that next leg up, which really is starting to look to me like it's going to give a legitimate run here this coming week. Anyways, that pretty much, sorry. Oh my God. I almost forgot. Historical volatility percentile on the weekly is literally at like almost all time lows. It's at about a 2 read right now. It really like, you know how sometimes I say can't go lower, bro, but like in jest, with volatility, you quite literally at some point cannot go lower because of the way that it's like the calculations work. I mean, it's just the way that it's designed. And so it being this low is saying that, once again, we do have we do have all the power built up for a absolutely face melting, earth shattering move, which is probably right around the corner, looking at open interest and looking at volatility in lower time frames, kind of lining everything up, and also just looking at the patterns. So fair enough. As always, RSI back above that critical zone. We'll look for a test back down into it. Sorry, let me put it on right there. But overall change of behavior confirmed. We are back above the blue box of bull markets. And same thing with weekly Stokes, which we'll go into more detail tomorrow in the long-term analysis video. I want to briefly look at traditional markets. Very good weekly close. However, on the daily does not look that powerful, does not look that enticing, and does look like it wants to come back down. But overall, the weekly closing like this is, I do think that pullback coming into next week. Next week probably opens as a pullback, and then I'd imagine it probably gets bought back on up. And of course, as we've been showing, a bullish stock market, a bullish traditional market is generally good for Bitcoin and pretty much everything else. Rising tide lifts all ships. Anyways, with all that said, I think it's time for me to wrap this bitch up. Looking at Bitcoin right here, again, same areas are still very much in effect. 98.50 to the upside. I would like to see a 12-hour close above there if it's going to be a weekend to target the next region of like 10.1 to 10.3. And weekend is just so ripe with fuck. I'm very hesitant to make a call like that over the weekend. I'd really like to see it happen over the weekdays. And then, of course, to the downside of which I'm not really looking for, but if it were to happen, and the probabilities are not on the side, to be 100% clear, 95.50 to 9600, if this area does get destroyed, it's not a death sentence just yet. The death sentence is below about 9200 to 9150 down here, but I do believe if 95.50 does get violated, you will see Bitcoin test somewhere in this region between like wherever this trend line comes in, which is actually rising somewhere around like 92 to 93 now. But over time, I would look for that to happen if that initial trigger was happening. But for right now, the upside is certainly more favored. Has a lot of things going for it. Just the fact that it's a weekend is making me kind of curtail a lot of the words that I want to use during this time. But with all of that said, I'd like to take a moment to wish you the best as always. Wish you the happiest as well. I really hope that I didn't even check in if this video is recording, but it is recording. Nice, fucking nice, man. I'm gonna go eat a shit ton of food because I'm really, really hungry. With that said, take care, and until next time.